Welcome everybody to the first ever April's Fool month, where we take a look at a bunch of mediocre and garbage. And today, or this video, we're going to be looking at something that had massive potential, but is a complete dumpster fire. And it's kind of sad because Green Lantern, this movie had a lot of promise, but it's utter crap. So without further ado, let's get into it. Green Lantern is a very interesting character with a lot of lore dating back to the 50s, I think, 50s or 60s. And is, to me, whenever Green Lantern came out, was kind of a staple of the times. It was definitely the rise of sci-fi, and if you go back and read the older comics, it screams old school sci-fi, which is great. It kind of has like a Buck Rogers kind of style to it, or a Magnus Robot Fighter. Both are great examples, and is a character that is really, really fun and neat to see. However, this movie, I think, suffers from a weak story. Now, before we get to the story, I want to talk about the performances, because for the most part, they're not bad. Ryan Reynolds' casting as Green Lantern isn't horrible. I wouldn't say he's great, but like in terms, if we're going to compare between Deadpool and Green Lantern, he's a far better Deadpool. But as Green Lantern, as Hal Jordan, he does a pretty solid job. Also, Blake Lively does okay as just a typical love interest, and I especially love Mark Strong and Michael Clark Duncan as both Sinestro and Kilowog. Both of those are inspired castings, and I think they were great in the roles. Like, Michael Clark Duncan as Kilowog is great casting. I don't know who else I would cast as Kilowog. He does a great job. Mark Strong does a really good job at Sinestro. The performances aren't bad. To me, where it lies is in the story. The Skarsgård, I can't remember which one it was. I'll have the name down here somewhere. It's a very whiny character, and one that really grinds on me, and I really hate. I don't understand why this character was even in the movie, to be completely honest. I don't know if I guess it's to have conflict between Hal as an earthly villain, but even in that, you don't really care for the character. He's super annoying. It's very poor. The one thing I will say before I get into my biggest problem is I love the bits when they're on Oa. When you really get the Green Lantern stuff, it is great. Albeit the location is it's a little bland and blech, but as a whole, when we get the whole Green Lantern stuff, I thoroughly enjoy it. I wish we had more of that than the stuff you see on Earth. My biggest problem with the story has got to be within the script. The script definitely needed a lot more time in the oven. It needed like 2 or 3 rewrites, if at least. The characters are not well developed. They're very poor, surface level. Nothing more than that. The characters are not written very well. The villains that you have, very weak, forgettable, and Parallax as a big fart cloud in the sky is super lame. And like, you don't even really get the context. Like, I get it. It's a world devouring entity, which would play great if written properly and not had such a crappy design. If you look at Parallax in the comics and in some of the animated series and what have you, Parallax was designed a whole lot better than this cloud of dust that just I don't understand what it is with huge villains in space that they have to undermine so badly. They did it with Parallax in this movie, and they did it with Galactus and Rise of the Silver Surfer. But I just don't understand why we can't develop a better villain than what we get. And I just, my biggest problem has got to be with the script. If they would have really developed a better script for this movie, I feel like the movie wouldn't be near as bad as what we've got. The actors are trying. I will say that. They're trying. And I just, there's some things I don't understand. Like, Martin Campbell, as a director, he's had his ups and downs, but he's created some really good stuff. The Mask of Zorro, GoldenEye, Casino Royale, they're all three of those are great. So how did he come to direct this movie? Because now it's just a big stain. It's kind of like Paul Verhoeven, who did RoboCop and Total Recall, Starship Troopers. A lot of those are beloved by a lot of people. And then you get Showgirls, which is absolutely horrendous. It's one of those calls I don't understand, and I'm baffled at the fact that they do it, because you know their work, their body of work, and that they can do great stuff, but how are they attached to something like this? All in all, this movie just needs a much better script. If they were to do a Green Lantern movie again, I think this one is far better. If you want a Green Lantern origin story, Green Lantern First Flight is actually a pretty darn good adaptation and origin story for Green Lantern. So how this movie completely gets it wrong, I have no freaking clue. Also, Mark Strong is a great actor, and he was a great pick for Sinestro. And the movie ends off on a cliffhanger, becoming the actual Sinestro villain that we know, which is unfortunate, because this movie is, like I've mentioned before, a lot of wasted potential, and to have an end credit scene leading up to him finally becoming the Sinestro and villain that we all are familiar with is like it just leaves a sad taste in my mouth. It reeks of a studio trying to make a franchise and using the rights for a character that they have just because Marvel is just getting its start. They're trying to create some form of franchises to get money. And it's very sad because Green Lantern has a very rich and deep mythos. When you really dive into the different colored rings, you've got the Green Lantern, like Atrocitus. Atrocitus would have been a great villain to introduce. The bottom line is this movie reeks of a really bad script, which, like, when you could have had a movie like this, and yet you make this, I don't understand. And I think this movie actually came out before this one. So why is it that we can't? I just don't understand how that's physically possible. Anyway, guys, that's my take on Green Lantern. Revisiting this movie just kind of angers me because there's just so much great things you could do with properties, and when studios bank on a property like this just to create the next big thing to get money, it's infuriating to me, considering the fact I spent money on this. More specifically, this exact copy is kind of laughable, I will agree. Some could say it's a waste, and it kind of is. I will say I justify this for the sheer fact it's a very historical thing, because without this movie, we would not get Deadpool. So that is my first piece of garbage that I get to cover here in April. And we're not done yet. I still have a few other videos in mind. The next one is a tie-in to this. So for those who don't know, and to give you a sneak peek of next time, we're going to take a look at the movie tie-in game, Rise of the Manhunters. Yay. I spill nothing but mediocrity coming my way. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this first video in April's full month. This is a first go-round, and me looking at a bunch of garbage. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I'm sorry for the lateness of this video, and just thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And if you're new here, check out some other videos. I got some pretty good ones on the channel. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next video.